Welcome to today's webinar, What's New with Jamf Pro, and thank you so much for joining us. My name is Willa Murphy, and I am a sales engineer here at Jamf. I am also joined by Sales Engineering Manager Justin Betker. In this webinar, we will cover some of the key announcements made in October at JANA 2024, held in Nashville, Tennessee. And we will also discuss some of our new features designed to enhance your Apple device management capabilities, some of which are already available to our customers today. So if you manage iOS, macOS, watchOS, or even the new Apple Vision Pro, you'll gain information on how to leverage Jamf's latest advancements for a more secure and compliant environment without compromising the end user experience. Starting off, we will talk about how to ensure devices meet minimum operating system standards for security and compliance in your environment. Available now with Jamf Pro, we have the ability to enforce a minimum OS version at the time of enrollment. When admins enroll computers and mobile devices with Jamf Pro via automated device enrollment, a pre-stage enrollment can be used to specify a minimum operating system version the device must have before continuing into Jamf Pro. Enforcing minimum OS versions via Jamf ensures that Apple devices stay up to date with the latest security patches and features, keeping your fleet secure and compliant while reducing vulnerability risks. This minimum OS enforcement is done immediately, giving a level of baseline security on the device and giving admins more visibility and a better experience for your end users. Of course, you will still have the ability to layer in additional organizational requirements, such as creating a local administrator account if needed.
Perfect. In this next section, we'll actually cover how various management features that we have for new devices. The first one is we manage Apple Vision Pro now. So we offer, not only do we manage it, but we actually offer automated device enrollment. Also known as zero-touch deployment on Apple Vision Pro devices. So when users first power on the device, it automatically enrolls and configures itself without requiring intervention from either IT or the end user. And one of the security advantages of using automated device enrollment is that it links the device to Jamf Pro, and once enrolled, users cannot remove the MDM profile, ensuring organizational control. And for organizations looking to deploy Apple Watches, that's also supported for management through Jamf Pro now. There's some specific requirements to include. The first one is you'll need Apple Watches running watchOS 10 or later, and they must be paired with iPhones running iOS 17 or newer. The enrollment process is fairly straightforward. It's using Apple's declarative device management system directly through the user's iPhone. And then the solution's valuable for organizations who employees need to maintain kind of hands-free operation or require instant access to notifications. And it's a great solution for environments where access to information is crucial, but handling a phone isn't always the most practical thing.
Now we'll focus on Jamf's app and feature enhancements. We'll start off with app installers, local admin password support, a little around self-service plus, blueprints, and the new iOS restrictions. Starting off with Jamf's app installers, which are also now available in Jamf Pro. A lot of you may already be familiar with app installers, but for those of you who are not, it allows IT to distribute and update available third-party macOS software titles from the app installers software title list in the Jamf app catalog to target computers in a smart group. With Jamf, you also have the option for automatic or manual update methods for software versioning. So this is really here to simplify the deployment of applications across Apple devices, enabling your organization to streamline software distribution, ensure consistent application installation process, and enhance end user productivity, again, with minimal IT intervention.
Perfect. Next, I'd like to introduce you to our local admin management solution, or LAPS, which is actually available now. We developed this password management system as part of Jamf Pro to handle one of the most critical aspects of device security, local administrator passwords. And here's what makes it useful. LAPS will automatically manage your local administrator accounts by storing, rotating, and providing access to randomized passwords, all without requiring manual intervention. You now have the flexibility in how you use this system. You can either access it through our Jamf Pro API or directly through the Jamf Pro interface. And you actually have several options for password rotation schedules. You can set passwords to automatically change every week, month, quarterly, or even every 6 months. And if you prefer to instead handle rotations manually, that's an option too. You can turn them off. The system is designed to be both powerful and user-friendly, allowing you to view and modify these password settings right from Jamf Pro.
Now for another exciting update, Self-Service Plus. So this slide is kind of the long-term vision of what Jamf intends to develop Self-Service Plus. So this was recently announced as a single platform for all of Jamf's applications and softwares. So think of this as self-service app, but redesigned to bring management and security together in one seamless experience. So Self-Service Plus delivers all the familiarity and function of self-service, again, but with a more streamlined experience and consolidating everything an end user needs. End users may not be familiar with a lot of the solutions we see here on the screen, like the Jamf Trust app, the Jamf Connect application, and the Jamf Protect agent. So the benefit of consolidating all of this is Self-Service Plus will be the go-to application, the single application that will communicate with end users no matter the product or event. So if, they're receiving a forbidden link that they're clicking on, we can get notifications in self-service. We can also receive notifications with Jamf Connect when a password is set to expire or going to expire. So all of these things to come in Self-Service Plus. Currently, what we have available in public beta coming later Q4 of this year is available for macOS only. So we are still offering the same branding controls as in self-service. We will now offer dark mode. We're also excited to improve organizations' access to bookmarks and other company resources, as well as upgrading the notification capabilities to give more details, information, and actionable items for end users to leverage. We're also excited to include visibility into the device's security status here as well. This allows end users to check their endpoint protection status, view device health, and see implemented security policies directly within the app. Again, we're excited to help organizations improve user awareness of their device's security measures and organizational IT management policies. And as this is in public beta currently, we are asking for any and all of your feedback around Self-Service Plus so that we can continue to grow and enhance this tool across all of our products and platforms.
Let me explain how Apple device management is evolving, particularly with our new Blueprints feature. Apple has claimed that declarative device management is the future, where devices proactively share their status instead of waiting to be checked. So Jamf's embracing this direction by introducing Blueprints to Jamf Pro. And to put this into perspective, let's take a little look back at how device management has evolved. So we started with policies, and these are macOS specific and rely on the Jamf binary for check-ins. Then came configuration profiles, and these work across all Apple platforms using the MDM framework and push notifications. But a couple of downfalls is you have to be extremely precise in what you want configured, and you get limited visibility on whether the profile has been applied correctly or not. But now we have Blueprints. These use declarative device management and push notifications, but with a key advantage: status channels, which keep the MDM server informed about device conditions. Also, it's worth mentioning that you may have heard of Blueprints before. They are unique to Jamf Pro. They're different from what you might have seen in our other Jamf products or potential competitor solutions. While the full release of Blueprints is scheduled for sometime in 2025, we'll be launching a beta program that you could be involved in Q1 of 2025. And Blueprints, to go even further here, Blueprints are powered by Apple's declarative device management framework. And this is particularly timely as Apple continues to expand their management capabilities using declarative solutions and policies. And currently, if you want to implement any of these features in Jamf Pro, you're limited to using the MDM config profiles or the existing declarative device management for software and inventory updates only. But what makes Blueprints particularly valuable is the flexibility. We'll be offering both pre-built templates for common tasks and custom options for more advanced configurations. The deployment process is straightforward. You simply select your smart or static group and create your configuration, either individually or in batches. And this means you can deploy a blueprint with just a few clicks or customize it to your specific needs. One thing that's important to note as well is blueprints are not replacing MDM config profiles. Apple's still actively developing those. Instead, it's just giving you additional capabilities through DDM-based profiles. And blueprints are actually blueprints are made using this builder tool with the drag and drop feature. We're actually going to see a preview of this in the next admin experience coming up. They provide faster deployment because we're using Apple's GitHub repository to extract the architecture of the declarative device management payloads. Then we are automatically adding them to the blueprints lists. This means we'll be more reactive when a new payload or key is being updated or added. Blueprints will initially focus on commonly requested features, but will expand to cover more use cases. And more declarations will be added over time based on user needs and Apple's releases. And then next here, we also have a quick preview to show what that will actually look like in Jamf School as well.
Wonderful. Jumping back into Jamf Pro, we'll go over a quick overview of the admin experience with blueprints. So we do have the new blueprint menu bar item on the left. From here, we are able to create that new blueprint and easily, as we saw, add in different policies or items that we need to configure within the blueprint. From here, we are able to select what we need and configure the corresponding settings or restrictions, allowing you to enable only what is needed or required in your environment. So here we are looking at a passcode policy and a disk management policy. At this point, all we would need to do is name our blueprint, and then we are going to select a smart or static group to assign the blueprint to. Once we've selected the desired end users, we create that blueprint where we can take one final review before we actually deploy this to our devices. Once we are ready and we hit deploy, you will then see the status of the deployment of the blueprint and much more information. Again, going off of Justin sharing not having a ton of insight into configuration profiles, this will give some additional insight for your admins. Again, this is really designed to streamline and simplify a lot of your Jamf deployments while getting to take advantage of Apple's declarative device management framework. Moving into some new iOS restrictions. With iOS 18.1 for supervised devices and for Jamf Pro 11.11, admins will now be able to control the following new features and keys with the iOS restrictions payload.
There are some important updates regarding RCS messaging on iOS devices. With iOS 18 in particular, Apple has introduced Rich Communication Services, or RCS messaging support. But this creates a challenge for many organizations, particularly those whose message archival systems aren't yet equipped to handle RCS messages. Since RCS is carrier managed like SMS and voicemail, the primary method to disable it currently is through your carrier. It's also worth noting that the current RCS implementation doesn't include encryption. While the GSMA, the people who actually developed the RCS standard, is working on adding end-to-end encryption for cross-platform messaging between Android and iPhone devices, they haven't announced when this will actually be available. But here's the good news. With iOS 18.1, that will actually give organizations more control. If you're managing supervised devices through MDM, you'll be able to disable RCS messaging directly. This is accomplished through a simple restriction payload setting, and when you set it to false, it prevents RCS messaging on the device altogether. This is really helpful because it provides an additional layer of control for organizations that need to manage their messaging capabilities precisely.
And with the introduction of these new keys, we now have some eSIM management capabilities as well. So if force preserve eSIM on erase is set to true, the system preserves the eSIM when the device is wiped or erased. Now, due to the fact that many devices only have eSIMs, this can impact individuals when devices are wiped because they must contact the carrier or IT to get the plan added back to the device. This restriction is essential to be supported in order to reduce the need for users to manage their own eSIM and data plan. Second, if allow eSIM outgoing transfers is set to false, it prevents the eSIM or the transfer of an eSIM from the device on which the restriction is installed to a different device.
And the last one is a new privacy feature Apple introduced at WWDC in 2024 for iOS. It's essentially a new feature that allows iPhone users to hide and lock specific apps. Think of it as adding an extra layer of privacy when sharing your device. Essentially, when an app is locked, you'll need Face ID, Touch ID, or another passcode method to access it. Plus, the locked app's information won't show up anywhere else on your device. No notification, previews, search results, Siri suggestions, or call history. It's important to note that this feature works on a device-by-device basis. If you lock or hide an app on your iPhone, this setting doesn't carry over to other devices through iCloud. And for for organizations managing supervised devices, you have two new controls. The first key is allow apps to be hidden. Setting this to false prevents users from hiding apps. However, users can still keep apps in the app library when removing them from the home screen. And the second key is allow apps to be locked. Setting this to false prevents app locking. Since hiding apps requires them to be locked first, disabling this option automatically prevents app hiding as well. It's nice because these controls give organizations flexibility in managing how their users can protect sensitive applications. Next, we're going to get into understanding device compliance with Microsoft's Compliance Management API. Manage device attestation next, and then we'll wrap it up with compliance benchmarks. First, I want to explain how our integration with Microsoft's Partner Compliance API works, which is available now. This integration serves a crucial purpose. It ensures that only Apple devices meeting your security standards can access your organization's resources. It's a key component of our trusted access approach, designed to protect your sensitive data and systems effectively. And from an end user perspective, this integration is particularly valuable. It creates a seamless experience where employees can access those corporate resources from their Apple devices without interruption, while still maintaining strict compliance with your organization's security policies. And this process begins with an essential first step. The device must be managed by Jamf. This is kind of the foundation that everything's built on. The second step in our compliance process is integrating with Microsoft Intune. Once your device is managed by Jamf, it needs to be registered with Intune. Think of it as creating a secure bridge between these two management platforms. Next, at this stage, all your devices, both computers and mobile devices, become visible within Microsoft Entra ID, which is formerly known as Azure. When you look at your device inventory in Entra, you'll notice these devices are specifically labeled as being managed by Microsoft Intune. This visibility in Entra ID is crucial for maintaining a clear overview of your managed devices and ensuring that your compliance monitoring is working as intended. It essentially creates a single source of truth for device management status across your Jamf and Microsoft environments.
And now at this point, Jamf evaluates the device compliance status and informs Entra or Intune. Jamf Pro delivers information about the management state and compliance status of those organizationally owned computers and mobile devices to Microsoft Intune's Partner Compliance Connector, which forwards the data to Microsoft Entra ID for use with conditional access policies. Azure then allows the end user access to company resources, pending that the device is verified and the user is authenticated. Azure will also block access from non-compliant devices. So device compliance can be enforced using Jamf Pro's management capabilities and is calculating using Jamf Pro's smart groups. Jamf then provides a user-friendly remediation experience to ensure that users can access their company resources correctly. This integration is crucial and helps further your environment's security, ensuring that only compliant devices and users can access sensitive data. Now, a very exciting topic, Apple's managed device attestation. This verifies the integrity and compliance of managed devices by providing assurance that they are operating as intended and have not been tampered with, ensuring enhanced security for organizational resources. Managed device attestation provides strong evidence about which properties of a device can be used as part of a trust evaluation. This declaration is based on the security of the secure enclave in Apple attestation servers and leverages cryptographically verified signals about each device. Currently, we have available MDM inventory queries that run off of the managed device attestation. Currently, the device information MDM command request, where the device requests attestation certs from Apple, and if successful, the device then submits those attestation certs to MDM. At that point, MDM or Jamf evaluates the certs for authenticity and any unique properties such as serial number and UDID from the certification and compares it to Jamf Pro's inventory record for the device. If these properties match, attestation is marked successful and Jamf Pro will periodically request new attestations over time. Again, this can be used as part of a trust score and evaluation in your environment to determine the device's managed attestation status. Currently, this is a feature available in iOS 16, iPadOS 16.1, macOS 14 with Apple Silicon, and tvOS 16 or later. Another thing to note, this is not currently supported for BYOD with user enrollment.
With Jamf Pro 11.11, you can now easily check a device's attestation status directly from its inventory record. This gives you so much more visibility into your device security status. And now you can track 3 key attributes: attestation status, last attestation attempt, and then last successful attestation. And what makes this particularly useful is that you can use these attributes to create smart groups, and this means you can automatically organize and manage devices based on their attestation status. For example, you might want to group devices or create different policies for devices based on their attestation status. This feature serves 2 main purposes. It allows you to control how you scope configurations and different applications out to devices, and then it gives you better insight into your device's security status overall.
Rounding it out today, we have compliance. As of today, the 2 main solutions that we have concerning compliance here at Jamf are Jamf Compliance Editor, which is a standalone application used to create compliance benchmarks that you can then upload into Jamf Pro for deployment into your environment, as well as Jamf Protect and our compliance baseline, which is a way to monitor the status of your fleet against CIS level 1 and 2 benchmarks. We are excited to give an admin everything they need to get started with compliance built right into Jamf Pro. Admins can now monitor or enforce compliance benchmarks on macOS without the need for the standalone application. CIS levels 1 and 2 will be available for macOS in beta. More benchmarks from the macOS security project will be available at general release. Now, the Jamf compliance benchmarks in Jamf Pro are based off of the macOS security compliance project and their GitHub repository. So using this information, we will be automatically creating these benchmarks within this feature in Jamf Pro, giving you the ability to deploy a CIS benchmark or security benchmark in only a few clicks. You may be wondering, how does this work on the back end? Using Jamf Pro API to build the corresponding configurations automatically is how we get that done. Now, Jamf Protect will still be the go-to product to have extended monitoring view on your environment's compliance status, but you will now be able to get an overview of compliance in your environment directly from Jamf Pro. For those wondering, Jamf Compliance Editor isn't going anywhere and will continue to be updated. We, again, announced support for CIS benchmarks level 1 and 2 initially, but additional benchmarks will be made available upon release. Now, support is limited to macOS first, but we do have plans to extend this to iOS and iPadOS in the future, as well as support for Jamf School. Another thing to note is this feature is currently only available to Jamf Cloud instances, and again, a release date set in 2025.
Awesome. Next, we'll get into a little bit of a quick overview of the admin experience with compliance benchmarks in Jamf Pro. We've added a new menu bar item here on the left called Compliance. From there, you can select between CIS level 1 and level 2 benchmarks. We're going to click on level 2 here. And then here you can give it a name, you can give it a description, and you can choose to only monitor the compliance status of your fleet or monitor and enforce, meaning that you'll actually apply the corresponding configuration profiles and scripts to put devices into a compliant state. From there, you can select a smart group and decide which rules need to apply to your fleet. And if you want, you can click on details to get even more information on the specific rules that you're viewing. And then you click on deploy, and now you have your CIS level 2 benchmarks deployed on devices.
And that rounds out our updates and information we wanted to share with you all today. If you are interested in joining our beta program to get your hands on some of these new features we discussed today, and you meet the criteria listed on the screen, you can email beta@jamf.com to get started. We are looking for feedback from everyone, so we encourage you to please join into the beta program if you are able to. Also, please reach out to your Jamf contacts or representatives if you have any additional questions on anything we mentioned or covered today. Thank you again so much for your time today, and thank you, Justin, for being here and presenting with me. I hope throughout this webinar you gained insight into the latest on Jamf Pro and how to implement these updates to improve your own device management strategy. Hope you have a great rest of your day or night wherever you are. Thank you so much.